Common sense is so rare that it should be a superpower. Brian Von VA here. Today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic in basically all TTRPGs. What's something that works, rules as written, but probably shouldn't, rules as intended? A Tarrasque can slip in ball bearings and fall prone. If you have a gun and keep ammo in a quiver, you can use the Swift Quiver spell for guns. It is absolutely meant to be used for ammo that's meant to be kept in the quiver, as opposed to ammo you place in there just for the spell, but technically, it works. In other news, Bow Bard is perfectly valid through magical secrets, and Swords Bow Bard is a decent build as a result. Since the flourishes of the subclass only require a weapon attack to hit, not a specific kind of weapon attack. This means you are one raw interpretation away from Gun Bard with 9th level spells and 4 gun attacks a turn for a 5th level slot. A Way of the Long Death monk can stomp on an ant and gain temporary HP equal to their wisdom modifier plus their monk level. Theoretically, it's entirely legal to cast a ritual spell while moving, so long as that movement doesn't use up your action, as an example requiring you to dash to achieve that speed or break concentration. This is a bit, odd. If casting a ritual on a speeding horse, it's probably not a balancing issue, but it does seem a bit goofy. Polearm Master is missing an errata. RAI, it is explicitly intended per word from the designers that you take the granted opportunity attack with the polearm that triggers it. But raw, if you were using a dex-focused build that took PAM away for some reason. There's a lot of acronyms here. Don't ask me about all of them. Some of them I do not actually know. You could do something like wield a 5-foot reach polearm like a spear and have a rapier in the other hand and use the rapier for opportunity attacks when somebody approaches within 5 feet. Raw, a goblin's boss ability to redirect an attack onto another goblin within 5 feet does not limit it to goblins that are friendly to him, including, say, a goblin PC. Now let's take it to a silly degree. If an uppity goblin takes a swing at his own boss in the hopes of usurping the leadership, it is legal for the goblin boss to pick the attacker. They swap places, and then the attacker makes the attack roll against himself. That sounds so stupid, but I bet you somebody tried to get away with that. Lycanthropes are immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. So, most interesting, I think, is without a magical or silvered weapon, a lycanthrope cannot harm another lycanthrope. For players, if you push a lycanthrope off of a bridge, not an attack, that deals damage. Use a catapult to hurl a rock at a lycanthrope? Nah, that requires a save, not an attack roll. That deals damage. An 11th level monk with Repelling Blast, Warcaster, and Polearm Master wielding a glaive. When an enemy gets within 10 feet of the warlock, he can use his reaction to cast Eldritch Blast and push the enemy 30 feet away. The Simic Hybrid's Manta Glide ability lets it move horizontally while falling, which does not technically expend movement. Jumping does, however, they can move 2 feet horizontally for every 1 foot they fall. Therefore, you can jump and glide an extremely short distance forward over and over to move twice your speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. Hell, that'd be really great for a scout class. The Skeleton Computer, or the Magic Mouth Computer. The basic concept is an army of skeletons, or a bunch of casts of the spell Magic Mouth, is Turing complete, meaning that you could theoretically create a working computer by giving enough skeletons specific commands to do things when other skeletons do things, or have enough magic mouths that activate when other magic mouths activate. Within enough time, space, and resources, you too could make a totally functional computer in-game. This takes the whole Minecraft redstone logic to a whole new level. Don't anyone try it. Or actually, no, someone do try it, and if you end up being the new Steve Jobs of the D&D universe, let me know. Invisibility gives advantage for you and disadvantage for everyone else, no matter what. If an assassin is incapacitated, unconscious, asleep, or anything else, they can still use evasion and have all damage from dex-based attacks. RAI, True Strike, and Find Traps were supposedly intended to have some purpose. Spell Rot Tattoo does not specify that you can cast the spell only once, only that the tattoo disappears after the duration. So if you pick the tattoo with a long duration, you can cast something every turn. If a DM allowed this, I would pick Glyph of Warding. It lasts until dispelled and the tattoo ignores material components. Ooh, that's OP. Totem Barbarians. With the 3rd level bear trait, gain the resistance effect of rage whilst wearing heavy armor. Heavy armor doesn't stop you from raging, just from taking advantage of most of its benefits. And the totem ability does not come with a clause about it not working with heavy armor. Ooh. Using the luck points granted by the lucky feat to turn disadvantage into super advantage, which allows you to do silly things like drop prone to increase your accuracy with a bow and arrow. Yet in real life, I think going prone would be pretty good, but not for a bow and arrow. If a group of archers with longbows standing 600 feet away from a group of enemies try to shoot, they'll have disadvantage because of range. If, however, there is an effect heavily obscuring the enemies, say a fog cloud, and the archers blindly shoot into the cloud, then both them and the enemies are considered blinded. Therefore, the archers would have double disadvantage, blindness, and range, but any attacks against the enemies are made at advantage because they are blinded as well. Since advantage and disadvantage cancel out regardless of the fact there's 2 disadvantage effects, the archers would just make a straight roll. So, raw, it's easier to hit an enemy far away if you're blindly shooting into a cloud they're in. The Lizard Folk's Hungry Jaws ability gives you some temporary hit points when you make a successful bite attack. Doesn't say it needs to be against a creature. If you hex a wild-shaped druid and drop them to 0 HP, you can then apply the hex to another creature while the now humanoid druid remains hexed as well. Using banishment via Glyph of Warding is nearly guaranteed to leave the target in their home plane if they fail the save, since the spell will last its full duration without needing concentration, and there's no effect in the plane you're on which can be dispelled. The best way around that is if the thing being banished has plane shift. The resource and time cost makes this hard to abuse, but it's a significant power level boost to the spell. Dropping a sword to cast a spell with somatic and material components, then picking it right back up with a free object interaction without needing to sheath or draw it. Portable Hole plus Galder's Speedy Courier equals low-level long-distance teleportation. Here's coming at you with some instructions on how this actually works. You put the party in the portable hole, then fold it up and cast Galder's Speedy Courier, which summons a small air elemental carrying a 3-foot square chest. You put the portable hole in the chest, then name the person you want the courier to teleport to, and close the lid of the chest. Courier instantly arrives at the destination, opens a chest, opens the portable hole, and the party is in the new location. Not sure how you're supposed to join them, though. There's a couple of things with the limited wish ability of Genie Warlocks. You entreat your patron to grant you a small wish. As an action, you can speak your desire to your genie's vessel, requesting the effect of one spell that is 6th level or lower and has a casting time of 1 action. The spell can be from any class's spell list, and you don't have to meet the requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect as part of this action. Raw. If you take a level of Barbarian, you can have a 6th level spell or lower cast while raging, because you aren't the one actually casting the spell. You still can't concentrate on the spell though, although it is up for debate whether you have to concentrate spells cast using limited wish. That would be another raw versus REI consequence from this ability. So yeah, also, what happens if you use this ability to cast Steel Wind Strike without a weapon? This ability specifically gets rid of the component requirement of needing a weapon. So yeah, that's weird. You can also cast Leomund's Secret Chest with this. I have no idea what would happen, though. Same thing with Warding Bond. You could also cast Summon Greater Demon if you have a Death Wish, or if you're one of those crazy nerdy cultists who really want to see a succubus, then hey, Bard Boy, here's your chance. Here's one, though it takes a generous interpretation of Raw. I believe there's a sage advice ruling that it breaks, though. Archery Fighting Style says you get a +2 bonus to attack rolls made with ranged weapons. Okay. The Sharpshooter feat says before you make an attack with a ranged weapon that you are proficient with. You can choose to take a -5 penalty to the attack roll. If the attack hits, you add +10 to the attack's damage. The Great Weapon Master feat says before you make a melee attack with a heavy weapon that you are proficient with, you can choose to take a -5 penalty to the attack roll, and again if the attack hits, you add +10 to the attack's damage. The Tavern Brawler feat makes you proficient with improvised weapons, such as a broom or maybe a bar stool. Take up a longbow, attempt to club an enemy with it. It's a melee attack with a heavy ranged weapon you are proficient with. Checking all of those boxes for a -8 to hit and a +20 to damage. There's an argument to be made there that a ranged weapon means you have to use it as a ranged weapon, but that's an improvised heavy ranged weapon, I suppose, and it is a melee attack, so you kind of got me beat there. 3 words. Wish, simulacrum, chain. Don't do this to me. In a cavern with 100 feet between the floor and the ceiling, reverse gravity has been used. I want to shoot the enemy lying on the ceiling. I aim up, look at the target board that is the ceiling, and my opponent's body is as big to me as it can be. My shots are at disadvantage because he's prone and harder to hit. You can long rest for 7 hours and 1 second, and then drag your still tired party into dungeon delving for another 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Suddenly, your party gets the benefit of long rest in the middle of the dungeon or even during combat and feels refreshed again. Nearly exponential returns on investments. Everybody's favorite. Raw. You can hire a skilled employee for 2 GP. Spend 2.5 on raw materials, make 5 GP worth of trade goods, and then sell them for 5 GP, making a 5 SP daily net profit per employee, with 182.5 GP per year, GP being gold pieces, SP being silver pieces. Weaver's tools cost 1 gold piece, so there's a 182.5% annual return on capital. But it's even crazier, of course, if you reinvest your money back into the business. D&D default settings are really just 1 PC away from starting the industrial or capitalist revolution, because you can do this at level 1, and the benefits are so much better than adventuring. Very quickly, you can buy airships full of trained archers and kill ancient dragons with your air force. It's broken as all hell, and very explicitly goes against RAI because D&D is meant to be an adventuring game. Well, you are adventuring just on Wall Street. In the middle of an active battlefield, while blindfolded, you can accurately pinpoint not just where everyone is, but who is who as well. Life Domain Cleric. Magic Initiate Druid. Take Goodberry as your level 1 spell. Thanks to Disciple of Life, if someone eats one of the berries, they get 4 HP instead of 1 HP. That's 40 HP of healing from a first level spell slot. After level 6, when you do this, not only do they get 4 HP per berry, but you get 3 HP per berry also. A potential of 70 HP of healing from a first level spell is clearly not what the writers intended, but if you're very, very clever, you can get around the things that the writers intended and, without breaking the game, make something beautiful. In this case, it makes something horrifying for the DM because now they have to find new ways to challenge you, and it's going to be kind of difficult without limiting things. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid as per usual. Make sure to leave a like, to subscribe, to ring that bell to get notified whenever we post or go live. If you want to catch us really live though, Twitch is where it's at. And if you want to check us out on TikTok for 30 to 60 second videos, come on over. Links are in the description below. Now, we do encourage you to leave us a lot of comments. We want to see some cool comments, but you want us to read a story that you have? Best place to do it, r/MrRipper. Just post in a thread that's already in existence, or make one your own, because hey, we want to see what you gotta say. Also, I, Brian Von VA, try to end things on a positive note. Today's no different. I've seen a lot of people come over already from MrRipper to my YouTube, and even less so to my Twitch. But no matter how many people have come over or haven't come over, I'm always excited to see the next person show up. And it's not just because of growth, it's because they always come in with a story of, hey, Bri, I listened to your videos on MrRipper. I love the way you sound, or you always make me laugh or cry, or I just feel like I'm right there with you in the place talking while you're doing all this. And that's great, because that's all I want for everybody. I want people to feel like you're at home listening to all of us talking and talking and talking about the weirdest stuff. Because it's fun, and we should all be nerds together, and I want you all to feel like you're all friends here, because you are. Even if, we're not personal friends or anything, you're still my friend. I still like hearing people come in and talk to me about all these things, and that's the best way to start a real friendship, so there you go. I appreciate all of you. I love you all. Please be safe, be happy, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.